and they can have my things when we're dead. But we gonna live forever. We gonna live forever.
The BOYSCAST.
Boys.
No girls.
We getting sued for that?
You know what else I gotta say about the boys? I released the video. Should women have their tits out when they play to raise revenue?
Yeah.
And I was just like looking through the comments, and legitimately, go to any of those places, the top like 10 comments, objectively super funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I know. Yeah.
And people always say that your comment section is funny. And it's not people being like, fucking yeah, that's right, like the odd person. But most of the people that are posting, it's like they're posting jokes and people get them.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like the one guy was like, "Oh, Ryan and that Indian dude, like they left his, they were fellow travelers and they left his, whatever it was."
Plus
but it's like just funny shit. And I was thinking, the idea of, how people say, "Oh, is guys crazier or girls crazier?" Right?
Girls.
Okay, so Danny's a
no. It's actually not true. I don't.
Danny,
it all depends on the scenario.
The reason Danny's saying that is because he dresses in drag and then looks in the mirror and he goes, "Oh, you crazy for that one?"
Oh, you crazy?
What are you looking for?
My headphone just.
He goes, "Oh, you crazy for that one, Polish Chuck." Danielle Polish.
I went got a haircut yesterday actually, and the guy who cuts my hair is this gay guy. And then he's like, I had told him at one point, he's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm a comic." And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to see he's like all into drag queens and stuff."
Did you run some bits on him?
Oh yeah. I mean, what's the point of getting a haircut? I got to write this haircut off, so I got to run some stuff.
Fucking Ubers and nuts, dude. So I was on the subway the other day. New York is back.
Haircuts are weird.
So when people go, okay, who's crazier, guys or girls? The difference is that the craziest guys right now are in jail, and the craziest girls are on a date right now, convincing someone that they aren't crazy.
I swear.
So
like you Google their name, you go, that was like they're explaining basically away like stories. They go, so I have a kind of a past, but then they're like just explaining it. They go,
exactly.
They're giving all the reasons for it. They go,
you can't tell with girls if they're crazy or not. They're sort of like the Jews of crazy people. You go, is that one?
I can't tell.
That's so girls.
The girl with that hat on, is that one or is that just fashion?
Well, they're the tassels. It's like, so how certain Jews are walking around with the tassels, and you go, okay, that's for sure one. That's like if a girl's walking around with like the cuts on her arm. That's like the tassels of crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
You go, okay, that one for sure. Maybe one shoe off. You go, okay, that one.
Why is it that cutting is like a pretty exclusively female thing?
Well, girls, the same thing, the same reason why girls can give birth.
Like, why has no guy ever been like, I guess, why has no guy ever been like,
well, because if a guy wants to commit suicide, he does it.
But but tons of girls are not cutting for suicide purposes. They're cutting for like just
there was
like
that
emo-y, like I think most of it. It's like most of it's not suicide.
I just want to feel the pain,
or just like be like, hey, I'm a cutter. Like they're like angsty teenagers. But it's like, why is that just an exclusive?
Never got the cutting thing, and you're right, because it is this thing where it's like, okay, so you go, was that a suicide attempt? They go, no, and you go, why am I supposed to care that like you have? It's like your fetish.
Like
cut yourself.
Did a cat get at you or something? And they're like,
it is sort of a thing where it's like I cut myself, and you go, why? It's like I like to feel pain. You go, sort of like an extreme sports.
I guess
person.
Is jujitsu the equivalent?
Yeah.
is it like cutting for girls and guys do jujitsu?
Men are so depressed they go do jujitsu and just get put in a headlock.
Just get their ears cauliflowered. Like cauliflowered ears is the fucking cut marks for guys. Like, what happened to your ears? It goes, I was going through some shit.
So quick shout out to some of the new $20 patrons. One guy goes by MacGruber, and pretty funny names on there. One guy, I'm answering one of his questions this week, but he has a based goes Fauci. Tim Hubbard, James Reynolds, and right now we got like 60 episodes up about there. And before we even go any further, you guys might not know this, but Daniel, I did want to say congratulations, because Danny is doing all of the voices in a new TV show called Q-Force.
I didn't want to tell you this.
You didn't want to
I didn't want this to be...
give you a little sample of the trailer for Danny's
It's a QAnon-based... it's like a QAnon-based cartoon where every character is in QAnon.
Q-Force coming out on Netflix ladies and gentlemen, premiered here the original trailer. And Danny, congratulations, dude.
Thank you.
Hey, Twink. Oh, hey, girl. That's my job, Daddy. Right? We're Q-Force. We're the first queer agents in the field ever.
The Danny Polishuk story.
That's called an entrance, by the way.
That was great work there.
That's called an entrance, by the way.
Gay heroes. Gary Cole, Daniel Polishuk.
The room's empty. I wasted all that masculinity on nothing.
Not nothing. My little butthole went boop.
That's actually funny. I watched
That
it.
was an ad lib, Danny.
I know. I actually watched that. I go, oh, okay, that was funny.
That was an ad lib.
This
Danny
summer,
did.
they're going from zero to queero. I actually pitched them that for the narrator, and they go, it's a little
And you
much.
go, can I still do my butthole quip?
Yeah, can I do the butthole thing? I go, can we do the zero to queero thing? And they go, I don't know.
Danny's a method actor, too. He's been blowing dudes
Oh,
all week.
yeah,
He shows up.
I literally been hanging out in bathhouses. People are like, what does this have to do with this cartoon?
Research.
Oh, I'm telling you, it's part of the cartoon.
I have an audition next week. He was just auditioning for the cartoon. He's fucking just blowing dudes right in the
voice audition.
Yeah, you show up for the audition. You got your boyfriend. You got your two twinks. You're on a leash. They go, "What's going on?" It's like, I take this very seriously.
Only guy to come into a voice audition walking funny. It's not even on video. I'm just like, oh.
And you're like in the window of the bathhouse looking. You're like, "What are you? A gay spy?" Obviously.
See?
I've been the director.
Hello.
The male director, you go into his house and you sneak into his house and then like you're like watching him piss and he catches you and you go, "Is that gay spy enough for you?"
You got the fucking gig.
There was some pretty fucking good ones on the internet. I'm not gonna go through, but Neuro Queer is another good term because
Neuro Queer?
yeah, Neuro Queer.
So Neuro Queer.
Neuro Queer. Well, I like all the terms where
That's what they call autistic people. They're like
neurodivergent.
neurodivergent.
Well,
yeah.
so I didn't look into this. So I've been hearing neurodivergent for a while, and I've been seeing all the people being like neuro. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Neuro Queer is a new one where you're like a queer ADHD or autistic.
So you're like
or
autistic
whatever.
and gay?
Yeah, autistic.
Or-
well, I think
or
all
not.
autistic people are gay, but
Gay?
yeah. But so people have this stuff, but it doesn't sound like they're just like giving high school kids good fun new insults. Like, I got a fucking neuro queer, dude. Like, you literally saying they're like retarded queer.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, like that's like they just PC'd up like you fucking retard queer from like 20 years ago, and now they're
The
like
neuro
oh,
queer.
he's a neurodivergent queer.
Yeah, neuro queer is good, but I didn't realize what neurodivergent was, and I looked it up. Neurodivergency is a concept that's been around for a while. I don't think so, but in a nutshell, it means brain differences and all that. So differences like ADHD and autism aren't abnormal. They're simply variations of the human brain. And so you may not know this, or maybe you do know this, but when I was young,
You were a queer?
every one of my teachers tried to get me to, every single one of my teachers tried to get me diagnosed with queerness. I go, "Oh, I'm here because I'm ADHD," and they go, "What?"
Did you see this? Just sorry to cut you off because I saw this on Twitter the other day. Somebody posted this, and this is a New York Times article from November 22nd, 1964. Look at this headline.
I saw
Did
that.
you see that?
Actually,
Actual headline: 5.6 million of us are mentally retarded.
and or you can call it
And-
Delaware.
Oh, and the author was also mentally retarded. Tough read.
Tougher.
Tough read. It really goes downhill after that headline.
Well, I'm neurodivergent then.
Yeah.
Because I remember, so I went, I did the gifted test, passed, but the ADHD thing, they tried to put me in there too. I had 9 teachers in a row to the point where, they want you to go.
Well,
to
they were
different-
you were probably fucking such a troublemaker where they're like, there's got to
Exactly.
be, but because you were doing well, so there's got to be something going on here.
Well, I think people need to, I'm going to start all the campaigns now, love Trump's neurodivergent hate. And basically, so I'm allowed to say all this stuff now because I was diagnosed.
You're
Dude,
literally like disabled.
I'm not. Yeah.
You have a disability.
I want to go on all the shows and be like, I've been able to become a sexist podcaster.
Yeah,
despite my
Yeah,
neurodivergence.
you literally beat all the odds, Ryan.
Dude, I would say
Remember like the Canadian Heritage moment? You're
That should be
You're
me.
gonna get one.
of my neurodivergency.
It's like you as a child in class. He goes, Ryan's, and you're like your parents.
I'm
like
spitballing
the
against the
parent-teacher meeting, and they're like, I don't know how to tell you this, but Ryan's neurodivergent, and you're just like off in the corner, just like smashing windows.
Know what I was doing? We were replacing the teacher's fucking DVDs with pornos or the VHS movie. That was the big one for us, replacing with pornos. We had a whole bunch of fucking good bits. Jarek had the funniest bit where probably one of the worst pranks of all time on its core. But what he did was he used to pretend to fall over once a day, and he just said that he couldn't stay in his chair. And the teacher's like, I know you can't be falling. And he goes, I'm just not good at sitting in the chair. And then so he would, it was the desks that are part of the desks, and he used to do pratfalls in class.
That's funny.
And then we did a few where we get everyone in the class to turn their desks around, except for the goody two shoes. So the teacher would come in, and every single person would be facing the X-ray. And then they'd come in and call my parents. They go, this guy is neurodivergent.
Yeah, he's definitely neurodivergent.
So as a member of the community, I consider myself a representative of the community, sort of like that young Crip guy. He's pretty funny, dude.
Who, Crip Daddy?
Yeah, Crip Daddy.
Yeah.
Don't hate me because I'm neurodivergent, but more importantly, this story right now, I got knee deep into this, based Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah.
I don't know if
You think this is a base move by them?
well,
This is a fucking bitch move by them. It actually doesn't make any sense.
the story is, I swear to God, I was 3 hours deep into Ben and Jerry's stuff. So Ben and Jerry's started. We're going to take you through the Ben and Jerry. We don't know who's involved.
They're both Jews, right?
Oh, yeah. Cohen?
Yeah.
You tell me.
That's
Ben
what I
and
thought.
Jerry's is going to end sale of our ice cream in the occupied Palestinian territory.
Which is like
Based!
but it's like, so Palestinians can't eat ice cream now?
Well, it's because
But it's like
until
who-
the Jews get their act together.
But it's like, what a crazy thing. Okay, so until the Jews
Like
get the
Danny's
act.
an apologist.
I'm not an apologist. I'm saying
I'm not an apologist.
I'm saying, so Ben and Jerry's was like, look, we stand with the people of Palestine so much that you can't eat our ice cream anymore.
Well, you're misinterpreting it. You're thinking that the reason they're not selling there is as a protest against what Israel's doing, right? They were saying all the Jews in the West Bank or whatever were trying to haggle too much. And it was hurting sales.
$5 a pint. That's the price.
And they said, until these Jews can just accept what the prices are.
Yeah, no more.
It wasn't a protest. It was a protest from Ben and Jerry's against these Jews not accepting. And then the Middle Easterns aren't much better. I give you $4.
Yeah.
And they go, so that was the situation. And they were saying,
Dude, it's my least favorite part of like going to any like countries like that have this like haggle culture.
Yeah.
It's like, you're like, just give me the fucking price. And you're like, hey, can I get this, like, whatever.
they start so
Handkerchief,
high.
they go $4,000. You're like, fuck off. Just how much is this thing? And you're like, that was like Asia too. And like, cause they just love, like, it is a cultural thing where they like love to like, it's like a game.
They can't wait.
It's like a game. Like all in the Middle East, like Asia, they go, how much is this shirt? $80. You go, I'll give you $1.
Yeah.
And then you got to be like, you got to get into this. I'll give you $1. And they're like, okay, $60, like $2. And then you walk away and they like, like in Bangkok, you'd be like, fuck off. And you walk away and literally someone chasing you like down a mall to be like, okay, $4. And you're like, why do we have to do this? Just fucking sell it to me.
Hackle culture fucking stinks.
Oh, it's annoying.
Also, they were saying the Jews were getting too fat, so that's why Ben and Jerry said they didn't want their people to be represented because the Israeli army, they're very... Okay, but so I got deep into this story because Ben and Jerry have been like out there.
Oh, they've been doing this.
When you go back in history, you know those things where, when they make a movie and you go back in history to all those photos and the guy was in the photo? Yeah. Ben and Jerry have inserted themselves in like every conflict.
Basically Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So they go, we believe it is inconsistent with our values for Ben and Jerry's ice cream to be sold in the occupied Palestinian territory. The company shared in a statement. And they said, the Vermont-based ice cream company Ben and Jerry's announced Monday that they will no longer sell ice cream in the West Bank. So out of the gate, I'm like, that should solve
That's a win for Israel right there.
Well, why is it a win for Israel?
Well, because you can still get ice cream in Israel for all the Jews.
Oh, but Jews can't get Israel if they're in the bad area. I guess.
Yeah, I guess what they're.
But you're right. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense because so we're gonna first off, what a weirdly specific thing. So we're gonna penalize all the settlers, the Jewish settlers in the West Bank, but also penalize all the locals.
Yeah, it makes zero sense.
And when you're like, okay,
they're putting it's like putting in an embargo against a country.
Also, fucking the main ice cream in Israel, because I've been there, is what is it? It's not.
I'm gonna say
It's neither of those.
Gold.
It's not Haagen-Dazs or it's fuck, I can't remember what it's called. But it's like the European one. It's fuck, I can't remember what it's called. But that's the main ice cream there. They don't even.
Yeah, well, so you're right. It does make zero sense.
It's just like virtue signaling.
And on top of that, there's like an Israeli Ben and Jerry's that's essentially their distributor, and they're not really affiliated. Like a different person owns the thing, and the people that are affiliated with them from Israel are like, no, we're gonna keep selling it. So, so it's like complicated. So Ben and Jerry, and first of all, I don't know if you heard this, but Ben actually doesn't support this, and Jerry is like hates Jews.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but I would love if like Ben was like, dude, can we just sell ice cream? And Jerry's like, we gotta fucking.
Yeah, can we just focus on the ice cream? He goes, no.
So they're solving everything. So Ben and Jerry has a licensed factory in Israel for more than 3 decades, shipping ice cream from the factory to Israeli settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. Ben and Jerry received...
Magnum, that's what it's called.
Yeah, and
the condom company.
There you go.
They also make the biggest ice cream in Israel.
Nice, dude. So people are boycotting this because they work with Jews, essentially. And Ben and Jerry's, I was sort of saying that on its face, because they were getting all this criticism or whatever, right? And this is in a response to this. The first thing, the takeaway is you go, before you get too deep into Ben and Jerry's, you go, isn't this a good, like, you know, when we're saying if you break the bed, you go, you know, a little bit of a wake up call. As a society, when you find yourself on Twitter yelling at an ice cream company, like, yo, you can't be supporting, you cannot be selling in Israel because of this thing. Ben and Jerry's needs to get Rocky Road out of there. Like, that should be a little bit of a wake up call where you go, am I too deep into this rabbit hole?
That's honestly, I've said it before, but
right?
That's one of my favorite things when people are like, you know, their favorite thing, they just like can't eat ever again because the company makes like just some one decision, like small decision that goes against your like core political values, like with the Coke or Pepsi thing.
Well, it's
they go, all right, I guess I'm a Haagen-Dazs family now. Thanks.
Well, people on the right wing now are taking fucking Rocky Road and throwing it in the garbage.
Literally,
and people people on left wing are doing it. So now they said people literally everyone's burning ice cream.
And like I was like reading the Twitter comments for this stuff, and then all these people are like, "Well, you just lost yourself a customer," and then someone below that's like, "Well, don't worry, because I'm going to be buying double the amount of ice cream now." And you're like, "You can only wait. You're just going to fucking like gain 80 pounds to fucking own some dude on Twitter." Dude. First off, and the main thing I'd like to say is none of these people ever stick to this shit. Remember the Goya bean thing?
Oh my
Everybody's
God.
like, I'm never eating Goya beans ever. And then like, you know, a month later, they're like, whatever.
Yeah. You forgot.
I did my
remember you were boycotting Goya beans? You go, huh?
Yeah. You just do your grandstanding on Twitter and then you just go back to eating your shitty beans. And
really?
Like,
but that has to be a wake-up call where you go, everyone's like, our society's not that crazy. And everyone's on Twitter arguing because Ben and Jerry. But, okay, so that was my first kind of take. But then when you dig a little deeper into it, which everyone doesn't know this, but when you actually dig a little deeper into it, Ben and Jerry are out there.
Oh yeah.
They've inserted themselves in. So they started their political career, Ben and Jerry. In 2011, Ben and Jerry released a flavor called Sweaty Balls in homage to Saturday Night Live skit. And they received a protest from 1 Million Moms, a project of the conservative Christian group American Family.
That was like the good old days
of cancel.
That was the good old days of cancel culture. That was literally like right before cancel culture became like annoying, when it was just like literally like we could all laugh at it because a bunch of like Christian moms were boycotting an ice cream because of the name.
Because of Sweaty Balls.
Sweaty Balls.
It was. This is when it was objectively funny.
That was the funny days where they're like, they didn't like rap music and like the name of ice creams.
Yeah, they weren't calling you racist. They were like, we don't like your sweaty balls. It's bad for our kids. And everyone's just like, shut up.
Shut up. And you're like, everybody kind of had a chuckle. And
so Ben and Jerry's got a taste of, you know, owning Christians with their thing, right?
Yeah.
And they probably stole, you know, they could have put them on the map. They're the sweaty balls ice cream. So then they started dipping their toe in more. Their controversy in 2006, after the company released a flavor of ice cream called Black and Tan. It had named it after the alcoholic drink. But the Black and Tan was also a paramilitary force in British World War I.
Oh my God.
Veterans recruited during the Irish Revolution. So the Irish Republican movement was offended from the historical association of the title. So at this point, you kind of are on their side where you go, these guys can't catch a break.
No,
They're just trying
also
to-
when you're like, when you're like, you can't. It's hard to take it seriously when like just the Irish are offended, and you're like,
Irish Republicans are offended.
Yeah, you go,
huh?
okay, this is getting
Right.
pretty niche.
But this is what happened. It's what we were talking about last week, where they started out by being like making funny stuff, and then like stuffy conservatives getting mad, and then before you know it, they're like activists. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Now, so then next what happens is after that they go in late April 2004, Ben and Jerry signed on to Fight for the Reef campaign. So they started out with sweaty balls.
Yeah.
Then they're like black and tan, and then. By 2014, now they're getting a little more political. They've got the Save the Reef ice cream. So they're getting out there being like, save the Great Barrier Reef. And then all the other people, now they started to look a little sillier because the people started being like, first of all, they were exaggerating the effects of all this stuff. And then the environmental minister, Andrew Powell, goes, the only people taking a scoop out of the reef is Ben and Jerry's and Unilever.
Got him. Got him.
Well, because Unilever is like a big company, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, shut up. You guys are polluting as much as anyone else. In February 2006, Ben and Jerry creator Ben Cohen. So this is when they really started diving in. 2016, as you would have imagined, that's when they got really into. So their first flavor, this is when they got in naming the flavors to get controversy. They called it Bernie's Yearning in support of Bernie Sanders' run for... So if you like Bernie Sanders, now you're getting into Bernie's Yearning. The flavor consisted of plain mint ice cream. The chocolate discs represent the huge majority of economic gains that have gone to the top of
Fuck off. These strategy sessions where they're like, all right, so how do we turn fucking mint chocolate chip ice cream
fight
into
the
like
fucking
something
power.
significant?
How to fight the power. So they said the fucking...
You go, what if the chocolate chips represent all the poor people on welfare?
Yeah.
And the mint chocolate, it's like...
Chocolate chip for every comrade fallen. This is Lucky Charms, and we just want to say that every second charm is for the marginalized communities of Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, and every Irish person who died in the Great Famine, the Great Potato Famine, we're
right?
thinking of you.
So this is... It's such a like little good microcosm of the world. In fucking 2011, Ben and Jerry go sweaty balls ice cream. Everyone's funny. Christian moms get mad. 2016, they have Bernie's Yearning, and chocolate discs represent inequality. This is like in a 6-year span, right?
Like the thing too is like, chocolate discs probably they narrowed it down to 5 things it could mean that it was going to be the official thing.
Yeah.
And they go, let's go with inequality.
Okay, so inequality on the chocolate dips. Then, so that wasn't enough for them. In 2016, the co-founders, Cohen and Greenfield, were both arrested at the Democracy Awakening protest. So now they're in the U.S. Capitol steps. So Ben and Jerry got arrested. They do everything together, too, by the way. Do you think that I love the idea that Jerry really didn't want to come? Jerry's like, I don't.
Yeah. Jerry Lee basically became like a gajillionaire, and he just became like conservative. But he's like,
yeah.
I'm gonna be like,
Well, they have to be there with the protest signs, being like, Bernie's yearning.
Yeah.
So, and they're doing the Amy Schumer where they're trying to get arrested and for publicity so they can be in the thing like, I'm for the people.
Totally.
With my fucking ice cream conglomerate. Also, when they talk about the 1%, like, these guys got to have some fucking coin.
Yeah. They're in the 1% of the 1%.
So in 2021, this is where it gets weird. Ben stormed the Capitol. And yeah. So that's where things took a turn.
I wonder
Ben
what happened to
stormed
the dude from
Capitol.
Mr. Show.
What?
Remember the guy from Mr. Show who got busted storming the
yeah.
Capitol?
We don't know.
Never heard about him.
But they go, so that's when, then they got arrested. Then in 2017, they announced that they would serve 2 scoops of the same ice cream flavor in Australia due to the refusal of the Australian government to legitimize same-sex marriage. So basically they said they're going to do 2 scoops instead of 1 scoop for same-sex.
You know what this is sounding like? Is that ice cream is like, there's just only so many flavors and iterations, and they just ran out.
Yeah, you gotta
like
go
they ran out of
vertical.
new ice cream, so they're like, what else do we do?
Well, yeah. So the legalized same-sex marriage, they're denying. So denying their ice cream but the bottom line is denying ice cream solves the world's problems.
The best would be if like fucking Haagen-Dazs was like had a criminalized same-sex marriage campaign.
It's a Blue Lives Matter.
Like they're literally like like a Blue Lives Matter flavor, like blue ice cream. Like just like they refuse to mix like vanilla and chocolate swirl. Like they're like a really like aggressively fucking like conservative, like not even conservative.
I would love Haagen-Dazs to go
like,
full the other
yeah,
way.
it's just like right wing, just like intense.
Yeah, Haagen-Dazs goes to the two. It's like how they have Metropolitan, but it's Metropolitan with only two things because there's two genders.
Yeah.
So this is, and also it's funny, like the idea that they're so involved in all this stuff, right? Like they were going, hey, there's, we can't get these gay people to get married. And there's only two people that can solve this. Like the Democrats, like when they really need to call in the big guns, like in House of Cards, they really, they're this one, like, we don't want to have to do this. We don't want to abuse this, but they have to call up Ben and Jerry being like, we're going to need you to make an ice cream flavor for this fucking thing. That's the only way they can support you.
That's the only way we can get out of this.
So 2018, they announced their new limited flavor called Pecan Resist. So by 2018, they're really...
Is that some sort of play on words that I'm missing? We can resist pecan.
Yeah, it's
like, but it's so ridiculous because they're having to like basically like. I wonder if they're making the ice cream and then like reverse engineering the name, or like someo's like it tastes better with peanuts, and you go, yeah, but it doesn't.
I think they just
peanut resist.
them.
They're like peanut resist doesn't make any sense. What does that mean?
I think they
put pecans in it.
Yeah, so Pecan Resist was introduced as a part of the opposition campaign against Donald Trump. I fucking love these
Shouldn't
guys.
it be Pecan Overcome?
Pecan Overcome.
Pecan Overcome.
Or like pecans in the bathroom. Don't you have to kind of respect these guys? So 2018, everyone's like Trump, and they're just like, Orange Man bad, and it's like orange sherbet. They're fucking... So it's Orange Man bad, and it's just sherbet, but there's no orange sherbet.
But it tastes like shit.
So Pecan Resist was against Donald Trump. So they were really getting into it by 2018. 2020, Ben and Jerry's attracted criticism for British commentators for defending channel crossings of migrants in France, so now they made another flavor, I guess, for to say that they need more migrants. And then people were kind of pushing back against them because basically they were saying that they were hypocrites due to their own practices in relation to workers' rights and pay, and also that they were hiring illegal immigrants. So basically Ben and Jerry were like running their ice cream sweatshops. Paying the people like minimum wage, and then they're like, you need to...
Yeah. They're just like, that's not the point. He goes, isn't Trump bad?
Yeah. Ben got the fucking... They're whipping people in the factory. And Jerry's on like the top floor doing a speech about how we need to resist Trump with our new flavor. So now, and then finally, anti-hazing activists. So now this is 2014. So this is the last one I'll say. This is back when they were cool before. They did Hazed and Confused. So they were like frat boys before. They did Hazed and Confused, which had been released earlier. And the concern... which it could be perceived as belittling, hazing and bullying victims. So before they did Hazed and Confused, which was supporting, you got to run around naked and do keg stands. And then they were doing fucking D's Nuts ice cream. And then now they're doing fucking, Capitol rioters should be in jail.
That'd be amazing. Like they do like Haagen-Dazs does a Capitol, like an insurrection ice cream.
Insurrectionist ice cream, Haagen-Dazs. The stolen election. Yeah. You know what it is? It's an empty thing of ice cream to represent the ice cream was stolen, just like the election. It's just an empty tub of ice cream.
It's an empty tub. All your money goes to like some fucking legal fund to bail everybody out. 100% of the proceeds.
Anyways, these guys kind of make me laugh. I got fucking deep into that the other day. Hey, what do you think about, we'll only talk about this for a second, but what do you think about the Amazon rockets and like all the billionaires doing rocket stuff?
I don't know. They're fucking, it's weird that they all kind of simultaneously seem to like, it is really like this just rich guy space race thing, like like just pissing competition. I'm sure it's not going to be like a bad thing.
No, I don't think it is either.
Like, I think there'll definitely be a benefit. Like all the stuff Elon Musk is doing, like he has this, he has that goal of like basically wanting to do where you can travel like it'll just be commercial travel, but basically you go straight up into the atmosphere and you go across. So you'll be able to go to like New York to Tokyo in like 2 hours because you go into the atmosphere and then across and then down. So like it's all, I think a lot of this is in preparation for that kind of stuff. I think it's fine. I don't know.
It's going to be good for that. It's going to be
it's
good
their
for,
money. It's like, I don't know.
No, but then on top of that, it'll be good, like, if, getting internet everywhere and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I think to me, it was like, when people are talking about this, people can only see things in their binaries right now, right? Where it's like, you look at what Bezos is doing and then they go, well, what about poverty? And what would they and you go, it really is, both of those things could be true. Like I legitimately do agree that they're not taxing these prices properly. And Bezos, they do all these shady things that other companies don't do where they go, fine, we'll do this in Ireland.
Yeah.
And the way that Mac goes, you know what? Well, when you buy a computer, we only really made 5% of it here because we bought the chip there.
Yeah. Well,
and we
Trump
bought this
changed
thing
that.
here.
Trump changed
They're
that.
trying
so
to.
they repatriated a lot of that
So
money.
they are trying to, but it's still not doing that good of a job. And the reason for that is the same reason with the wealth tax stuff, right? You know those guys. They're like the wealth protection industry is the smartest people in the world. They're all making millions and millions of dollars at the top.
Also,
right?
they fucking all the tax codes are written by these these people who are their accountants essentially. Well, who leave the public service.
Some of it's so that's what they want.
Yeah.
Like ideally, the same reason why. Okay, the best hackers, when we watched Penelope at fucking Colonel Mines.
Yeah.
She used to be a criminal hacker, went to jail, and they essentially said, okay, we'll let you out of jail if you come work for the FBI, right?
Yeah.
That is the real only way you can get these people. Because if someone's making $5 million, why on earth would they come work for the government for $250,000 at the high end?
Of course.
So you have literal government employees trying to outsmart some of the most brilliant people that ever lived, and it's very difficult.
Yeah.
So honestly, you the same way mobsters, you need
but also
you need informants almost.
But it's not even trying to outsmart them.
You
It's
are
it's
trying to outsmart them.
No, but it's a lot of the people. The whole thing is you work in the public sector, and then your big payday is when you leave, and then all these private companies want to hire you.
Oh, I didn't even think of it that way as well. Yeah.
It's like a politician, right? It's
it's both. There's both of those.
People
are
get into
happening.
politics. I'm not saying everybody gets them,
but they don't have anyone going the other way.
No, they don't. No. Very rare. Because why would you want to do that?
That's what I'm saying. So,
yeah.
So it's one of those things where when all these politicians that are say all this, we'll just tax more and do this, and we'll just steal this guy's money and that'll solve the problem. It's the only person you could tax is middle people because you ain't getting their fucking money unless you can outsmart them. So it is
also
hard.
the one thing I didn't realize,
but that doesn't make going to space bad. They're kind of mutually exclusive.
I didn't realize the reason why none of these guys pay taxes or whatever, the big guys, is because they never actually sell their shares. They just take out loans against.
You didn't realize that?
I didn't know they took out loans against their shares.
Yeah.
So that they never have a capital gains. They just they have an interest expense.
It's a brilliant.
It's crazy. And then they'll go to a different bank and borrow money against that, and then
anytime they need capital, they just get capital, and they never actually make a dollar.
Yeah, well, they never sell their shares.
So everything they just buy on credit, and they never took an income. So it's
it's like if you're a bank, you're yeah, of course I'll give Elon Musk a $500 million loan
whatever you want
against $10 billion shares, $10 billion worth of shares of Tesla. You're that's a safe bet. They get their couple % of interest, and he just pays basically not. He has a liability now essentially.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, before we move on, just want to tell you about our new sponsor.
Yeah, there we go.
We have Cuts Clothing, knocked over fucking Based Al Bundy. No, Cuck Al Bundy.
Oh, no. Cuck Al Bundy, yeah.
And Cuts Clothing, they sent us a bunch of these shirts. Whether you're hustling for a promotion, working on your golf swing, or chilling with friends, they did not fit Danny because they didn't have quadruple XL.
They fit snug.
They fit snug on Daniel and his mom. Both, what they did was they cut it out, and they were able to have one on Danny's mom basically had it just covering her tits like a halter.
I will tell you though, with the working on the golf swing thing though, that is.
Danny actually does.
Guys like me.
No. Danny comes in and you walk into his room and he's putting into a cup.
Into the cup.
And he doesn't look up. He goes, "How you doing?"
No, I go, just 1 second.
Just 1 second.
Just 1 second.
So yeah, all that stuff. Cuts Clothing will keep you feeling good and looking sharp to mark 5 years of creating clothing that can be dressed up or down for anything. So that's the whole idea of this company is they're nice shirts, but they also, you could wear them out. Cuts is having a month-long anniversary celebration. So you can wear them when you're out. If Danny was out just at the brothel, but you could also wear it if you were at crashing a wedding that you weren't invited to, because you wanted to tell them that two men getting married is not something.
If you work for Haagen-Dazs and you're like, hey,
yeah,
not cool.
Haagen-Dazs.
Not cool.
5 years ago, the founder, Steve Borelli, set out to create clothes for every occasion, the modern face of men. GQ magazine called the classic PYCA Pro Tri-Blend Tee the only shirt worth wearing. So GQ messes with this company hard. Or try the wrinkle-free PYCA Pecan polo and designs that keep you fitted for the office or the golf course, or even your next hot date. So this month marks the Cut's 5th anniversary, and they're doing it big with 2 collection drops, a product launch, and a week-long special event. Join the celebration and get 15% off site-wide by going to cutsclothing.com/boyscast. That's cutsclothing.com/boyscast for 15% off and access to anniversary events all month long.
Yay.
So you know how there's those segments about there'll be like Twitter accounts where it's journalists taking L's and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought a funny segment is girls taking L's, and this article was making me laugh, and it's kind of a good indication of your modern women problems. So it goes, I left my husband because the sex was boring. Now I'm having the same problem with my new partner. When I met a new guy, it was great for a while, but I have a huge sex drive and I feel like I'm making all the effort. What can I do? And the obvious answer is, have you met Daniel? Well, if she met Daniel Polishuk, she'd be writing an article. Help, my vagina's raw again. Help, my vagina is
What's
fucking...
a good fashionable mobility scooter?
So it was so funny though, because it's like this type of girl. Have you ever dated a girl that just like nonstop wants sex?
Uh-huh.
Oh, you know the other thing I was saying is like, you know
Must be hard for her.
ED, like more men have ED.
Yeah.
I like the idea of saying, do more men have ED or have women just gotten grosser? Like the idea is that like, is it a coincidence that like girls started dressing like feminists and got grosser and then all men are having trouble getting it up? Is that really a coincidence?
I think we should do a study on that.
I think this is the problem with like, if I was to give real advice, it's like, I've said this before where it's like a lot of times girls want more sex, right? Because with a guy, you're just like, it's the same thing over and over again. And it's like eventually in a relationship, you sort of turn your sex drive down because otherwise you're just going to want to fucking cheat all the time. If anything, to get through the day, if you're fucking in a monogamous relationship, you need to just turn it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you can't be 3 months in still being like, haba about your wife.
Well, some people are.
No, they're not. No, they're not. So you need to get into a state where you're like sort of a little bit finding a way to be, okay, you know, you sort of just don't think about sex as much. So or else you're just like constantly, ah. And even this guy, that's what they said. They go, I found out by accident that he watches porn when I'm not home. I wouldn't mind were it not the fact our sex life is so dull. So I think one of the worst things that you could have in life is a girl that's like trying to have sex nonstop. But if you are a girl that wants to have sex nonstop, you go, what are we getting in between? The problem is, you know how girls you know how girls are worse at negotiating than men?
Yeah.
A lot of times it's not that they're worse at negotiating, it's just that they avoid negotiating at all costs. Mm-hmm. And I get the idea of that even as a man being like, okay, let's say I'm like, I want you to come to this thing. And she's like, I don't really want to go. What are you going to do? And you go, you know what? Just don't come then. Like, I get the idea of not like bargaining for something you want. Just be like, forget it then. But she's kind of like, I want all this stuff. It's like, okay, if I'm dating a girl and she wants sex all the time, right? And if I feel like I'm paying for more stuff and this, and then on top of that, like I go to bed and I'm tired and she's like, come on, like pleasure me. Uh-huh. And you know, with a girl like this, it's not just like, give me a quick one.
Yeah, no quickies. It's
so
it's like a 45-minute.
So what are you doing for that?
Yeah.
It's all about, the thing is like in a relationship, things have to be somewhat equal, but she's saying, well, this should just be expected as not part of the like equality package. So if we go, okay, what am I'm paying for more stuff. I'm doing this. Maybe you clean this and we're kind of even. You want sex more, so I'll have sex when I don't want to. She's like, no, that doesn't count as like a point for me.
Yeah.
Like
That's...
They don't want that to count for like a point of something. But you go, if you're like this nymphomaniac and a girl, because a guy is way more, you know, if you really want to get the guy in, like bring more girls into the equation, let him fuck other girls. You watch him get fucking into it real quick.
You know what? Actually, you just
Watch him get hyped up.
You
real
gotta find
quick.
the right guy, obviously, because there's a comic we know. I'm probably whatever.
I'm not saying there's not none.
No, but like a comic we know who you would not expect it.
Nymphomaniac.
Can I say it?
Hillis?
No. Kirk.
Oh, he just loves.
I was
sex.
talking to him, and he was talking to like about like some girl he's dating, and he literally is like, yeah, he's like, when I'm in a relationship, twice a day. Every day. I'm
yeah,
like,
but he's
twice.
only-
I'm like, twice.
He's
like
lying
his-
though, because he's only
I
been in
don't think so.
relationships. Like, I asked him if he was like that with his wife.
He was. No. I was.
Really?
I go, you were like this with your wife? He goes, yeah. He's like, dude, he's like, I need it twice a day. I'm like, every day? He's like, yeah.
That's.
I'm like,
fucking
dude,
crappy.
that's fucking insane. So it's like, and he's like in his 40s.
So
I'm
you
like,
need that.
You need
He
that.
wasn't at the time, but yeah.
Yeah, or whatever. But no, he's saying even now. He's like, because he's like seeing some girl or whatever.
Well, he's always in new things though now.
Yeah,
So
but
that's-
even still, but no,
I get that in
He's
the
just like,
first
he's
6
like, I'm a
months.
2 a day kind of guy.
Well, your average person is what she's saying.
Yeah.
It was 2 a day. She was getting her 2 a days for the first few months. And then by the end, the guy's like, ugh, you know?
Yeah.
6 months in, she goes, he's going to sleep. She goes, you want to fucking, and then, so I think if you are a girl that's like that, you need to be like, okay, maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll make this guy fucking dinner. I'll do this. Like, I would, if I feel like I'm being like, served in other areas, I'm fine. I'm so much more likely to go, all right. And once you're having sex, you like it, but it's the starting it. It's like you're about to go sleep. You go,
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, you gotta- I mean, it's like it's the classic thing that used to be the other way, where it was guys like want to have sex, and the girls like, I'm not in the mood.
yeah.
And sometimes
But
guys
it's not,
aren't
I'm
in
not
the
even
mood.
not in the mood. It's just like,
I mean, it is
whatever.
It kind of is. You're like,
For me,
I'm
that
about
for
to fall-
girls it
trying to
is.
fall
For me,
asleep.
it's not. For me, I don't have to be in the mood. I'm just kind of like, ugh,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like it's not you're not in the mood. It's just like a pain.
Yeah.
You know, but if like I said, if you bring someone new in, watch
It's
the guy
literally
get
Al
in the mood
Bundy.
real quick.
Al, can we have sex? He's like, no peg.
Well, listen to the fucking.
But also the fact that she's saying this is now back to back, you're like, okay, so there's a trend here.
you want sex more than guys, and what do you
Yeah.
need for that?
Yeah, but also like you need
Be
to
the
go
perfect girlfriend.
You need to go to like a kink party or something. Like you
You know
need
what
to
else you
find
need to do is date a guy that's like way below you.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the other thing I'm saying. It's like if you date someone that's like, if you're a hot girl and if she's like medium and she dates like a gross guy, lo and behold, that guy's gonna want to fuck her more too.
Also, here's a big one: is go find a guy who's a virgin. Like, go find like a 30-year-old virgin.
Yeah, well, that guy's
that
gonna
guy
wanna put
is
it
gonna
down.
fucking give it to you. Like, you're gonna be like, okay,
Even
this
then,
is over
though,
the
you're
top.
forgetting though. But after 6 months, that guy's been training to not have sex for his whole life. So after 6
He hasn't been
months, you might
training
go,
for. No, I'm talking about a guy who's like wants to have sex, but just like.
Well, listen to the insane advice this girl. This is the reason I brought this up. So obviously that's a funny problem, but then this is what the advice that these fucking women are giving in these advice columns. She goes, partners have to trust each other and how they like to be pleasured. Everyone is different, so you must be specific in explaining, even showing your needs to your new partner. If you always let him get away with being selfish, why would he even bother trying harder to please you? He cannot read your mind any more than your ex-husband could. No. Her advice was you didn't nag him enough about how to eat you out properly.
Yeah.
Isn't this crazy?
Yeah, give him a little booklet that he could read, like some homework. Go, just read up on this, watch some videos, and
This is
we'll
what she said.
reconvene.
This girl's like, oh, my guys don't want to have sex as enough as me because they're trying to build their careers and they're worried about life, and I'm sort of just like sitting at home spending their money. And then when he comes home, I would like to be pleasured also because that's the only enjoyment I have in my life. And then she goes, have you considered writing him a diagram of how to eat you out?
I mean, look, just
Nuts, right?
Well, this is what's good. The realistic thing that's going to happen here is you go, okay, you're going to dump this guy. You're going to find another guy, same thing. You're going to dump that guy, and then you're going to find another guy, same thing, and you go,
Just
okay,
be
this
sing-
is just
so just be
this is
single.
what it is, or I be single.
Yeah, or you find a fucking.
You can't have your cake and
but
eat it
I'm
too.
saying,
or you maybe
there's
find the
always-
guy who just wants to put it down twice a
Sure,
day.
but most of the time, someone's going to want it more than the other.
Always.
And my point is, the one who's going to do it wants it more. Most people, if you, like, say you want it more, and then you go do nice things and you fucking take care of stuff, they'll do it. So it's like, you just have to fucking hold up your end of the bargain in other places, and then, you know, use sex as a fucking bargaining chip like anything else to make things even.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want it to be. And I think that's people's problem. They go, I don't want sex to be part of that. And you go, sorry, everything's part of that.
Yeah.
But speaking of sex, so there's like this.
Did you have some? Sick.
Speaking of sex, yeah, smell my mouth,
Smells like jizz.
dude. Speaking of sex, yeah, smell my ass. Smell my asshole.
Also
it's gonna
smells
smell like a dick.
Also smells like jizz.
It's gonna smell my forehead. It smells like jizz.
You know what? Come to think of it, this entire fucking studio smells like jizz.
So there was this. I thought this was such like an interesting cultural fucking turning point. But so basically, there's this porn star Brandy Love, and she calls Turning Point USA a religious cult after being banned from the event.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a big story. So
Yeah,
basically,
I
this
saw
porn
her.
star.
I saw her on for a momentarily on Chrissy Mayr's live stream thing.
Right. So I thought it was such a something that I felt like I've been predicting for a long time. And basically what I said was forever. The right was all taking joiners because they're like, you can come over here. And they go, there was a few staunch people being like, just so you know, like that's not actually conservative. You know, a few people holding down, they're like, well, we actually are. But most people were like, we think that fucking there's all these cultural movements. We want them to join our thing so we can fight the common enemy of what we consider the, you know, left wing crazy.
I mean, they
people.
literally went from like, hey, these ice cream flavor names are bad to like porn's cool. And now they're like, all right, maybe.
Well, now they got a little bit more power,
Yeah.
a little bit, you know, I think the fucking left crazied themselves out. And now, on top of that, things are a little calmer in the world a little bit right now than they were a year and a half ago. And anytime you see a little lull in, you know, there's not really a new, you know, whether it was like the vaccines, the riots, there's always something going on, right? So it was very easy for like the different factions of liberals and the different factions of conservatives to band together, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas now things are a little calm, and as soon as things get calm, you see infighting. It's the same reason why, like, when a country's at war, everyone's kind of together a little bit.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they aren't anymore, you really see the people in the country start to fight.
Sorry, yeah.
And that's what's happening with this. It's like these people were so clearly at war. If you're left wing, you go, we hate Trump. That's really what we hate. If you're fucking right wing, you were just like, we hate liberals. Really, that's kind of what we, you know, these crazy. And then what happened in the last little bit is that fight got a little murky. And then you see all the different groups of liberals, like the Bernie people and the fucking, you know, the neoliberals, you would call them, the Democrats, basically. They're all fighting pretty hard. And those fights, you know, you see Jimmy Dore fighting with like the Young Turks
Crazy
guy.
that Jimmy Dore like went from like this really like leftist dude. To,
Well, he is a leftist dude.
but he's kind of like it seems like he's kind of moving.
Well, no, I mean, that wouldn't be my interpretation. My interpretation would be the like principled sort of leftist people always hated like the Democratic establishment. They got tossed out to what would be called like the dirtbag left kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But they always hated like. So I was watching this documentary, and it was the United States of Amnesia about that guy, something Gore Vidal.
Al.
Do you know what that is? Gore Vidal.
Yeah, Gore Vidal.
And he was kind of like an OG, you know, leftist. So it was like about free speech, and then he was also about like the Democratic establishment just being as bad as anyone else. He was like, I used to be naive enough to think that who was the president mattered, all that sort of stuff, right? Like, I guess you could say it's not left or right. It's like red pilled and not red pilled is probably a good way to like separate these fucking people.
Yeah.
But when you see like a Jimmy Dore, it does go to say, you go, Jimmy Dore would probably agree with this porn star. Like, so this porn star is kind of in a situation where she goes, okay, those liberals are fucking nuts. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you saw recently, like another big one going on, and it's like the fucking Men's Health posted this article, but it's like they posted like a pregnant non-binary emoji.
Yeah, the pregnant.
Right.
Yeah, they're coming out with the pregnant guy emoji.
So the fucking, you know, the left establishment is pretty much like down with, here's a fucking man with pregnant belly, and this is just to be like, you should be like perfectly that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, so for someone like her, she's like, okay, so I'm not that.
Yeah.
She goes, okay, those people are fucking nuts.
Of course.
And she's like, maybe I like these people because they have a common enemy. So she'd probably agree more with like a Jimmy Dore person. He wouldn't care if she's porn, but she starts thinking, oh, maybe I'm a conservative.
Yeah.
And then at first, because she's like making fun of liberals, they go, look even she thinks this.
And
like,
she's popular, so they're like, we can use this.
Right.
They're like, oh, she's like, people know who she is. They can use it for their like weaponize it and kind of get it.
Weaponize it.
You know,
They can
get
weaponize it.
And then they're like, oh.
But then when it comes to actually like, can we come to our event? It's like, well, I mean, no.
yeah, you're like, we're conservatives. They're like, we're like all Christian conservatives.
Yeah, and I don't really think there's anything like. To be honest,
Like 40
of course,
videos of you getting DP'd by like.
if it would be almost hypocritical of these conservatives to be like, hey, we're for conservative values, we're for like God, we're for this, and like a porn star is gonna come and be like, hey, I'm this, and you go,
They're literally like, we don't like swearing. They're like, we're not even like cool with swearing. Like
Yeah.
you can't take the Lord's name in vain, and you're
No.
fucking doing like these crazy porn videos.
So the only thing these people agreed on is that they hated these fucking crazy liberals. So, but then when they get, it's like these people, they go, oh, don't we hate that? And then they get together and they realize they hate each other too. They go, oh yeah, we have nothing in common.
Did she banned? Like, was she supposed to speak, or was she just like not allowed to?
I think she was going to
attend?
speak. Yeah.
Okay.
And both sides now, because she fucking put her, she goes, I'm not going to say that there's pregnant, whatever dudes and all this stuff. So they're basically the conservatives, the Christian conservatives, and the other people are having like, I don't want her, I don't want her, I don't want her. And then there's like other right-wing people who go, well, we need to take people like this because it helps our movement. And then the other people
Well, we
are
just
like,
need soldiers. We just need more.
we need soldiers.
We just need numbers.
And then the other people are like, well, if we take people like this, then what are we even conservative? Are we even conservative?
totally.
What-
Yeah, we have to rethink exactly like what we even think.
Yeah, so it's a funny. I mean, I wouldn't want to go to that dorky ass fucking
No,
turning
it's the
point
lamest
event anyway.
Yeah, it's the lamest thing ever. It's just like a bunch of dudes who come in 10 seconds and then Brandy Love.
Porn star wants to. But it's literally.
Yeah,
It's a weird.
like imagine all those guys be like, "Hey, Miss Love, big fan of your work."
You know who fucking always retweets my stuff? Eva Lavia. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, she was on. She was also on the.
she
that was
got
her.
banned too?
No, it was her. No. But Chrissy Maris thing was Eva Lovia and.
Well, she asked me to do her thing, but it was like kind of one of those times when I was like, I
Brandy
fucking
Love.
can't do any more press. But
Yeah.
she she was messaging me. She was really happy with my quote where I go, a lot of people, there's like cowboy lifestyles, and people try to say that they need to normalize them, but it's like, no, you just weren't suited for this if you need it normalized. Like if you sign up to be a cowboy and then you go, we should actually,
Yeah,
it's-
of course.
so that I always talk about that, but I don't know if you remember back in the day when we first moved here and Kendra Sutherland was down to smash.
Yeah, I remember that. That was
He
a-
was hitting me up.
yeah.
Case up, but I didn't fucking pursue it.
No.
Nah, I didn't really. I wasn't really that guy. But it is interesting though. Me and Danny were joking around a lot, saying that it'd be funny, like you go on a date with Kendra Sutherland. She's like, "Hey, do you mind picking me up at work?" And she goes, "Oh, where is she?" Like, "Oh, just at my coworker Mandingo's house." And she comes out the door walking funny, and
Yeah,
then she
go.
goes. No, we're saying you go to your car, and then she has to put down one of those O's.
yeah. She's got to sit on the donut. Mandingo opens the door. You're like, oh, hey, Mr.
Mr. Dingo.
Mr. Dingo, or is it Mandingo? Hi.
My date's
Is,
here.
is Kendra home? I'm just here to pick up Kendra. And he goes, yeah, she's just cleaning up.
Yeah, she's just cleaning up. Yeah, she comes out. Her mascara's on.
Yeah. She goes, yeah, and she, but totally mascara one, totally normal. She goes, I just need like 2 minutes. She goes,
Yeah.
okay. And you got to like make small
She tries
talk.
to bring her work home
You got to
from
make
him.
small talk with Mandingo in the fucking vestibule. He goes, so,
How was work today?
yeah, this is cool. What'd you guys get up to? Actually, don't even tell me.
Yeah, so you gotta get.
It's been raining a lot. Just to make a small talk with
New York
Mandingo.
rains too much, eh? Dingo.
Hey, Dingo? Is it Mandingo or is that your real name? Is Mandingo your real name?
How'd you get into?
How'd you settle on Mandingo? How'd you pick that?
Yeah, so I don't think I don't think that would have worked. But there's the I saw a Christian was one thing that was making me laugh is that when I was at Dundas Square filming this week, there was like
Dundas Square.
or sorry, Times Square. There was a which I guess it won't be Dundas Square anymore, but there was a Christian guy, right? And he was.
What do you think? What do you think it's gonna be? Young and like it's gonna be like what? Young and Black Lives Matter Square or something?
Yeah, yeah. Young and Trans Lives Matter.
It's gonna be like a really like fucking wordy thing too.
It probably will. Neurodivergent. I'm hoping it'll be young and neurodivergent lives matter.
Young and LGBTQ plus P whatever.
Yeah.
Like every.
So there was this guy. He's got like his megaphone, right? And he was doing sort of like a Black Israelite
Sorry,
thing, but for Christian.
Do that megaphone act out. Hey.
Danny's got me in the scope right now.
If you're listening, you might want to watch that.
So the funny part to me was he was talking about he's in the square talking about that's my favorite thing that the black comics do. They go, my buddy's out there talking about like, you don't say talking. He was talking about, and then so they say talking about. This guy was yelling. He goes, I was a drug addict, this and that. And I found Lord. I went to jail 40 times and I found God. And it was like kind of like a crusty looking white dude. And he was like, and you too can turn it around. I was a devil's man.
Is he the Hellfire
I turned it
guy?
around. But we're saying like, it's funny because he was like, I was, doing heroin and now I've turned it around to be a raping lunatic.
Yeah. Is he the dude who like looks like he's hosting an open mic in Times Square?
I
Like
guess
with the
so.
chairs?
He didn't have chairs.
No.
No.
Because there's one right around Times Square where there's like, he sets up chairs. It looks like it's like he does like a church service.
Yeah.
But it also looks like a shitty open mic.
Yeah. There wasn't this guy. There's a few different ones, but I just love the idea of that he's sort of like, you too could get your life together. It's like, but you're not like a success story. You're like a raving lunatic in Dundas.
I mean, a
Square in fucking
success,
Times Square.
literally like his success is just like not being in jail.
Yeah.
Which I guess for him is a success.
But for anyone else walking by Times Square,
But
it's
you're
like,
not Ty Lopez.
You
over
literally,
here, like,
the only people you're talking to are homeless people. That's what I meant saying.
yeah. He's like the Ty Lopez of like crazy people in Times Square.
That's the only people that you might get is like some guy about to do heroin and he's like,
Yeah.
you can be me one day.
Yeah.
Instead of doing heroin, I could upgrade to lunatic at fucking Times Square.
yeah, like he's like, I read 40 pamphlets a day. He goes, you too can read 40 pamphlets
He's
a day.
the homeless Ty Lopez.
He's the homeless Ty Lopez.
I read. This is
He goes,
this is my subway pass.
He goes, I have 3 different e-scooters, all stolen.
Yeah, he's the Ty Lopez of fucking.
You know what's by the way, fucking that I say that I've noticed this like maybe in the last like couple months because do you ever see outside of your house like because you live in like that whatever weird area where all these like those weird dudes have like the city bikes? They all just have city bikes, but like they don't have city bike. They stole them.
They stole them.
So I ride the city bikes, and so this is a thing I've like seen like maybe in the past couple of months where like people have figured this out, where they jimmy the fucking docks because when you leave your bike back, like it locks in.
So it doesn't.
So they're
lock.
basically they're fucking with the docks so that you put your bike in and it doesn't lock.
Yeah.
And then like I guess you're like drunk and you just leave it and you go home and then they just like pull them out and now they have like a fucking bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's spreading around the fucking like the bike stealing community because they're like I've noticed it so like I went to somewhere recently and like I went to a dock. There were 2 docks and there were the ones on the very end. And both of them didn't work, and there were the only 2 available. So then I went to another one, same thing. The 2 on the end, both of them didn't work.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's a little fucking racket going on of people stealing city bikes.
They're out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, our buddy Johnny has 2 scooters. He got 2 different scooters stolen.
Scooter life is a crazy life if you don't live in an elevator building.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I threw mine out because it was too small for me, and I just fucking tossed it. And I didn't toss it. I just left it outside. Someone thought they stole it, but I just left it.
Joke's on them.
Too. Yeah, I just put it out there. But the other thing that's coming with this, so just to wrap up with this, the porn thing, which was to be expected. It is like such a weird time for all that stuff. I think people are all having like a rejigging of their identity because it is true when you go, who does the porn stars align more with? And you look at like, when we think of like Barstool and fucking those guys that are the Nelk boys or whatever, like that would be considered not part of the, the fucking...
It would be like the Barstool conservatives, I guess.
Yeah, that's what they call them or whatever. But it's like, those are the people walking around with supermodels right now. Like, those guys are out there with like, hey, here's my fucking supermodel girlfriend. And then, if you... Because it's all about, like, how do you convince fucking kids to be shit is like, you go, I want to be that.
Yeah,
So you look... If you're telling some kid in college right now, he looks at those guys and they're like having fun, smoking hot chicks. And then you look at, whoever the fucking left-wing version is, you like... What, your girlfriend's trying to be a boy and she's got armpit hair?
Totally. And you're just like, all you do is complain.
All you do is complain, and your chick's fat with fucking a buzz cut.
You have no fun. Like, your life is literally about like just never having fun. It's like, you know what it is? They've become like the stuffed up kind of like Christian people where they're like, it's wrong to have fun.
Yeah.
Like, they just went the other way.
It's
cool to watch.
However, following her removal from the event, the 48-year-old took to social media to condemn it, saying that the group is a Trojan horse for organized religion. And it was like...
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Trojan horse for Turning Point USA? It's like saying like the fucking church is like...
Wait a second.
Wait a minute. You guys are Christian?
You're at the service.
What?
I told you this story before, but the fucking...
She should like to fucking get back and then be like, to just go videotape like a huge, like crazy, like gangbang video in the parking lot. I'll show them.
I had that sketch idea I was trying to do about like the conservative Trojan horse where it was like poning libs, and then the one guy goes back with them and they're like, yeah, also you shouldn't have sex before marriage. And everyone's like, when are we going to do the poning?
Yeah. Can we pone some libs? And you go, yeah, just after church.
Yeah, that one guy at my university that convinced me to go to church, he was like, the fucking guy, Nick, me and my friends go, and he like talked weird and he rapped once, and we used to always go, hey, man, what you saying, bro? Want to come chill at my pastor's house, dude? that was the rap we used to say, dude, because he called everyone bro and dude and man. But a lot. Like, yo, bro, man, bro. Like, it was enough that it, became a thing. But anyways, he brought me. He goes, yo, just come get some food, dude. Oh, yeah, you want to get food? I go, all right. He goes, just my boy's house. He goes, takes me to his boy's house. It's his pastor's house.
Yeah.
He drives us for 20 minutes. We go there, his pastor's house. And then there was 4 or 5, like, 12-year-olds, and he's like helping lead this like Bible study group, and the pastor's like, okay, can anyone put their hand up when
how old were you? Is this in university?
20. Dude, he brought me from the library at Guelph University. We were studying. Me and this guy were studying. We had a fucking economics thing.
Yeah.
And like he was in my res or whatever.
Yeah.
And we were fucking studying. He goes, yo, you want to grab a bite? I go, oh, my boy's having people over. If you want to just come quick. And I go, blah. And he goes, come on. It'll be like, it's a free meal. He kept saying it's a free meal.
If you want to come quick.
He goes, it's a free meal. And then before I know it, I'm sitting on this couch 20 minutes outside the city. There's 12-year-olds around.
That's so
and
funny.
the pastor is like, and does anyone know why Jesus did this and this? And then he's like, ooh, he's got his hand up. He's 20. These kids are 12. He's like a big...
He's like big dogging them. Those fucking idiots.
Yeah, I remember being like, legitimately... I had to go to the bathroom.
It's something like you basically got duped into like going to a timeshare presentation, but like
I did get duped into going to a timeshare presentation. But the scary part was that there was downstairs was the bathroom, and when I went downstairs, this was before phones, and I really, really was like, yo, these people might skin me alive. Like, dude, this feels like sketchy.
You know your religion has a PR problem when you're like the most wholesome people and you're like, they might kill me.
I felt sketched about it.
I might be at risk here.
I'm telling you, buddy. Okay, just a quick break here again to talk about Fume, the best way of quitting smoking and vaping naturally. I brought one of the Fumes because I
want to see it.
I told you, I've been liking the Fume.
You liking the Fume?
Yo. And you go, yo, do you even fume, bro?
What's it like?
Take a puff, dude. It's no nicotine. So it has like stuff inside. I legitimately at first was kind of poo-pooing it. And then now I like it because I quit smoking, vaping, all that stuff, completely out of the game. Helps with the hand-to-mouth habits, nicotine craving, menthol craving, quitting stress. Sort of fun just to dick around with. Head to breathefume.com. Check out the Quit Naturally pack. Make sure you let them know we sent them by using the code BOYS for 10% off. Canadian made in Calgary. Worldwide shipping is still fine. 30,000 plus customers served. 5-star rating. Head to breathefume.com. Check out the pack. And
also, if you have bad breath, I think this would help with that too.
It could help with bad
Honestly,
breath.
if people tell you got bad breath.
Yeah. Make sure you check out breathefume.com. That's breathefume.com. Check out the link in the description and use code BOYS to save 10% and quit smoking and vaping today. I had this comment that was like sort of bothering me.
Yeah.
So someone commented on one of the videos and it was like something that was like bugging me all day. Someone goes, in one of my videos, they go, I didn't know Bam Margera was so funny. So that's the comment, right? And so I guess they're calling me funny, and they're kind of being like, haha, you look like Bam Margera. But it's like, Bam Margera is funny.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Like it was like it's almost hurting my brain because like, I didn't know Bam Margera is funny. It's like as if he was like a politician or something.
Right.
But it's like Bam
As if he was
Margera
Charlie Kirk.
had the #1 comedy show and movie in the world.
Yeah.
It was like, yes, Bam Margera is funny though.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you didn't know? Like, is your only experience of Bam Margera like seeing him fat on Rehab?
Yeah, I
he had the
guess.
#1 comedy show in the world.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know Tom Green was so funny. You look like Tom Green.
yeah.
I was like, yeah, he is. He's super funny.
Yeah, he is quite
Tom
funny.
Green moved out into the fucking farm in Canada. Did you see
I
that?
saw that. I actually just saw a
I
post
talked to him a bit.
I saw a post from him today where he's like he just lives in Ottawa now.
Dude, he bought a big farm and he's gonna just run like a big like compound out there and make videos and stuff like that.
Interesting. And what, he just sold his place in LA, or he still has a? He had that like gorgeous house in.
Yeah, I think he's still got his fucking place or whatever. But did you see? So one thing I quickly want to talk about is, I don't know if you saw that video, but we talk about
Brandy
like
Love?
this. Yeah, we talk about the censorship stuff like so much, and the debate is always like, should the government be involved and blah blah blah. And it was like, I don't know if anyone saw recently, but like Psaki, the like speaker or whatever,
Jen Psaki.
yeah, she did this press conference where she comes out and she goes, you know, we think the government needs to get more involved when people are spreading misinformation. And it was like, why should you be banned from one platform and not all the platforms?
Yeah.
And I feel like so many people have been beating down the drum of like the government can solve this, and it's just like I don't have a foreseeable
They're
solution.
literally part of the problem.
They started the problem. They're so wrapped up, but it's like the government,
Like, you understand,
is so
like,
in there.
The crazy thing is, like, yes, the misinformation stuff, the reason people won't take the vaccine is because they don't trust the media and they don't trust the government. And the media is essentially like an
The fucking
extension
media arm of the government.
Yeah, exactly. So they're like, we don't
Democratic
trust any
press.
of you. Like, I'm sure a lot of those people, if this happened 10 years ago or 20 years ago, would have been like, yeah, we'll take the vaccine.
They're
like, why
so
not?
untrustworthy.
It's like, you contributed to this. Now, maybe you think like, oh, like, you know, this is how I'm going to solve the problem that like we created, which it's not.
Do you ever hear that quote?
The more
I think-
the thing is, like, the more that they say, oh, like, we need to censor people, you think that's going to get someone who's on the fence to take the vaccine now?
It's insane.
It's like, if you just,
they won't
you
give
just
up anything. Yeah.
Yeah, but you go, okay, yeah, the person's probably like, okay, now I'm definitely not taking it.
100%. And they're like, these idiots won't take the vaccine. You go, what are you going to give to them? It's like it's like this girl mentality of this. It's back to the sex thing.
Yeah.
Where they go, why won't you do this? And you go, because your whole life is like taking things away from me. And when you have a little card, like, for example, if they feel like they have this card, well, I'm not going to do this. And you're like, why don't you just do it? And it's like, if people feel like, you know, when you're trying to get backhand in a relationship,
Yeah.
it's like, I think a lot of people feel like that, where they're like, everyone's lying to me. I'm being gaslit nonstop. And I think that's one of the reasons people want to do that. But
Yeah, they don't trust it. Like,
have you ever heard that saying where Thomas Sowell goes, he goes, there's nothing scarier than the phrase, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Yeah, for sure.
And all of these companies,
so much bad shit's been done in that.
both these companies have to go to fucking Congress and get yelled at by both sides. And I think that other than Dorsey, I think a lot of these companies would rather just not be in the business of censorship to begin with. Who wants to be? I was talking to the guy from Comedy Cellar, and I think he had a pretty good point, like Noam.
Yeah.
He was kind of like, most businesses, you don't want to be any of these businesses. Like, you know, you just want to run your business. And then everyone starts complaining about this and you go, okay, I guess I got to address it. And then it becomes this. Like, ideally, you would just let the comics go on and that'd be the end of it. Okay. And then it's like, oh, would you let this guy? You end up, I'm sure that like a lot of these
The thing is, there are cases where they go, okay, yeah, probably this should not be allowed. Like, we've said it before, but you're like, you can't, like, it's just like, you can't have no rules. You can't have zero rules.
No, they are rules. See, this is
because then you get like child porn. If you go, okay, zero rules for content, child porn.
No, but this is the distinction that should be made. It's, you don't want no rules. You want the rules that are the First Amendment.
Yeah.
So that's what you want.
Yeah.
They already have rules against child porn. It's illegal.
Right.
So that's not up to Facebook to say, hey, no child porn.
Well,
on
I guess
the
in terms
site.
of moderation.
It's already
Yeah.
illegal.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? They go, Facebook doesn't need to say no child porn. It's already illegal.
Yeah.
Just the same reason they say, oh, you can't broadcast yourself burglaring someone's house. They go, that's already illegal. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, of course.
So
yeah.
the rule's already there. They're saying that we want to have a monopoly on truth. We're going to decide what the fucking truth is, even though we've been wrong 20 times. And we want the government to kick you off. They go, oh, what are you off? They want to give you the Alex Jones treatment where now you can't get a credit card processor because you fucking question people who've been wrong 100 times.
The crazy thing too is you could be right.
Living in a fucking book. Dude, I'm turning into a fucking you sheeple guy real soon.
I know. But it's like you can be right literally like 90% of the, or 99 out of 100 times, and the one time you're wrong, they go, that's misinformation. You're out of here. And you're like, what about all the times I'm right? You're like, what kind of like?
Too bad.
It's like a zero tolerance policy
on being
on being like
so
making
you just
an
can't
error.
Say anything? Literally.
Like, yeah, it's like, okay, I'm sorry, I misspoke.
But you're never wrong.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
The government's never wrong.
It's like fucking Joe Biden is like
the amount of common opinions that were proven wrong. You know that what was that old stock saying too? It's like when you find yourself in the general consensus.
Yeah,
you don't reevaluate your position.
Yeah, you just don't want to be like in the part of the herd.
If you find yourself in the herd, step back and be like, are we right? Don't just take for granted. And they goes, so I think I don't have any solution or whatever, but this idea that I think a lot of people think that the government can solve the problem that the government created. I think you're going to be.
I mean, not right now, not when just the distrust, because the fact is like, it's just, it's an issue of just people don't trust you. They don't, people can make decisions for themselves. Sometimes they're not good decisions.
Yeah.
People people have a history of making bad decisions for themselves. But what are you going to do? Like the whole thing, everybody's like getting all worried about like the Delta variant, blah, blah, blah. You're like, this is like 4 states that have to worry about this. There's like 4 states that have low vaccination rates, like very low. Yeah, they might have an issue with it. That's their choice. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you can't stop. Like people have been smoking for fucking how long? Like we've known for 40 years that smoking's going to kill you. And they told you, Fumes, shout out to Fume, perfect segue right there. But, it's like they've known for 40 years. And they go, people are like, yeah, I'm still going to smoke.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, I don't know.
No, there is some.
Like they're not shutting shit down again. Like it's not like there was all this people who go, oh, we're going back into lockdowns. You're like, no, we're not.
No, we're not.
We're not going back into lockdowns. Like
Florida, or no, sorry,
like
LA
Mississippi might. LA did a mask mandate, but even fucking Cuomo said he's like, we're not doing another mask.
Australia, I don't know if you saw that.
Australia?
I saw a video from Australia that was wild, dude.
But that's because their vaccination rate's like 3% or something crazy.
So this lady comes on the TV and she goes, Australia, and she goes, oh, ding you. No, she comes on.
We just lost our one Australian listener.
And so this fucking bitch, Australian bitch, she comes on the telly and she starts going, she's like, Mayday. She goes, we did out of like 80,000 tests or something like that. We have 1 death and like 300 new cases. So as of tomorrow, we're locking up the capital anymore. No one's allowed to leave the cities. It was like a comedy sketch.
Yeah, they're doing it so crazy because that's the thing. They're in.
I've been talking to Lou Spears a bit about it's
because they're in this like zeroism kind of mentality where
zeroism is mental.
Well, they're on an island, so they actually don't have these like borders. They really are on an island, so it's that's where they're like, look, we'll just like eradicate it and then it's gone again. But you're like, look, you did this, it came back. Like, so your issue is just, I don't know.
You think you're gonna eradicate
they're making fucking Canada look like, I don't know, America. Like,
it is nuts what's going on.
They're making Canada look like Texas. Like,
dude, you'd think there's probably Australia. I'll tell you one thing that maybe is a factor. There's probably so many Australians that just like live on the beach and they go to surf and they don't follow any of this rules. But it's sort of like a cowboy sort of city, like a country a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's so many people there that they ain't following the rules. They're taking a Jeep out with their surfboard. I bet you they can't be for all this stuff, but it's
no.
Nuts.
Well, and as far as I know, they're like they were like similar to Canada, where like they just didn't get a lot of vaccines and their like rates really low. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they obviously have this precedent where they're like incredibly heavy-handed with their lockdowns, and people like that was Australia was the one where literally people were just getting like going to a park and getting like the shit beat out of them for like just being in a park.
Yeah,
and they like weren't allowed to.
Okay, I wanted to show you something, pretty funny here. So, we did the Wokes and Racists video. It was like a big video, obviously.
Yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of it, actually.
Was it?
I got the Facebook. Maybe we should repost it.
Yeah, maybe I should repost it.
Because I got the Facebook 1 year ago today deal.
So there's this dude on TikTok that makes like fucking.
Oh yeah.
Did you see this? So
by the way, I just want to say about TikTok, because like I use TikTok, I like TikTok. There is no source of more cringy content in the world than TikTok. With all the girls just doing like the voiceover stuff and like these just like dances and like I don't know where you can find more per capita cringy content.
Yeah, it definitely makes you
than
feel
TikTok.
weird.
Yeah,
and the political stuff, and this guy, a year-old video, I guess, and he goes, actually, and it's like you go when you see people on the internet, you go, this is who's fucking making fun of you, and you're first of all, you go, one video, I'm making a video a week for the last year and a half. Or 3 videos a week in some cases, and I got to defend every point. This one.
Also, it's like
trying to pick it apart, like the book report. But it's 1 point. But like this is who's making fun of you, and you look at it, you go, oh my god, look at this friggin' nerd.
Wokes and racists actually agree on everything? It's amazing. I saw it. Well, I didn't really think.
He's talking to himself.
What? How so? Wokes? Like. Who is that? I thought woke was an adjective, not a noun with a plural.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that woke is an adjective.
It's like literally. So wait, you're just hearing the term woke right now?
Yeah. This
like
is
in the year 2020, the year of our Lord, you're just hearing the term woke for the first time. That's it. That's where you go. Oh, I've never heard that term. What is that? That doesn't quite.
First of all,
make sense to me.
grammatical. This guy, and he's holding a drink. He's talking to himself. He makes all these videos talking to himself.
They just mean like anti-racist, intersectional feminists, annoying weirdos. Oh, okay. Anything else? Yeah, the part about how...
Anything else? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they go, yeah. This guy fucking... This guy fucks.
About interracial dating. Could you walk me through that? Oh, sure. Basically, wokes are against interracial dating, and so are racists. Is that true? I mean, I've seen at least 3 tweets against interracial dating from woke.
Oh, boned.
Is that a statistically valid sample?
Is that a statistically valid sample? Just because that seems like maybe it's not a statistically. They're like, oh, just what is it, Melvin from fucking Office Space? Is that? Was it Melvin? What
I can't remember because you just Melvined my fucking brain.
Who was it? The stapler guy.
Norman Newman. The stapler. My stapler.
You took my stapler.
Yeah. I said a statistically valid sample. Imagine fucking. Holy shit.
Milton.
If I search Twitter for all of the tweets that are anti-interracial dating, would they be half and half from woke and racist accounts? 40-60? 80-20? Whatever. The point is, there are woke people who are...
Okay, first off, I guess you haven't been on Nation of Islam Twitter.
But like, okay, aside from this, the fact that this guy's like, remember that year-old video? This 1 point isn't It's such a fucking
I searched Twitter.
dorky ass fucking loser, dude. But you go, okay, let's first of all, again, you take a video with 25 points and try to pick the worst one. I'm fine with that. Whatever. But I go, what world are you living in where Twitter has more people posting white and black people shouldn't be together? Literally, you can see this stuff that, like the articles that are interracial dating, they were in like the Slate, Huffington Post. If you want to hear a white guy that's like white and black people shouldn't be married, you need to go to a community center in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
You need a leaflet. Like this. So you go, Wit has more tweets like the interracial dating.
Literally go to like spots in Harlem.
But yeah.
Like it's going to be
literally Black Twitter was all saying that stuff, which would be considered woke. So you're saying his argument is that there's probably 3 tweets about this, like from woke people. And there's probably a million tweets about it from racists. How many tweets have you seen in your life that from a white person saying white and black people shouldn't get married?
If I exclude the ones that I posted myself?
Yeah.
None. It's pretty much just me.
His whole argument is that, like,
Yeah, I know.
his whole argument is it's like, in terms of like racist people and woke people, this is the whole thing. You go, like, in his mind, he's like, fucking conservatives are like, what, interracial dating's bad, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, what world is this guy living in?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's not. He's living in fucking fantasy.
Because he's like, oh, that's the extremists. Like, so there's a few like extremists being like, interracial dating's bad because of you're fetishizing or whatever. And you go, yeah. And those extremists are in like media positions and like you would agree with them. No one that is normal, white guy's coming out and going, white people and black people shouldn't get married. And you go, I see his point. But when someone goes, white people might be fetishizing, people like this are like, okay, they sympathize.
Yeah, they said, well, it's like it's coming from their side, so like they're not going to be like challenging it.
If this guy saw a black guy come and say, I don't think that fucking our black queen should be with white men, would he be like, actually, no? Would he go, actually?
Yeah,
no,
like-
he'd go, let me hear you out, brother.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, brother, rap for me, brother.
He'd
Come
be
on,
like-
what you got to say?
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He would listen to him. He would hear him out.
When you say that would be statistically most of the tweets,
And you go, no, you stupid idiot.
Yeah,
Isn't that funny?
that was. Yeah,
This guy's
I
all
was
that.
watching that.
He just like, he kind of reacts to videos and all of them is like, he puts a video
the
on
back
and
and
goes,
forth, him talking. Excuse me. This guy must be fucking super fun at parties.
he goes, I was just looking at your Goya beans and
I mean, I don't know if you heard.
Yeah, that the CEO of Goya, like Trump, so
dude, it's like
get
a
a
human,
different bean.
it's like basically a human tweet.
Yeah,
It's kind of what that guy is. Do
human tweet.
you know what I mean? Like that's how people tweet.
Every time that guy makes a video, there's like 20 new conservatives. Like 20 people on TikTok become conservatives. They see that video, go, all right, well, fuck this guy.
There was another thing that was fucking making me laugh too. Like this viral tweet where I'm just like, I was looking at Twitter getting all fired up again. I go, it goes, when you only listen to this Adam Grant, it's like on the face, it goes, when you only listen to the smartest person in the room, you miss out on discovering what the rest of the room is smart about. Everyone knows you meet, everyone you know knows something you don't and has wisdom and experiences you have lived. Every conversation is a chance to learn something new. And I have heard this a lot, right? How many times have you heard this kind of argument?
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
Yeah, of course.
And in my opinion, no, they don't. Like if you go to a room and it's like, oh, everyone has something to say. How many people have you talked to where you go, oh, especially right now, you go, oh, I know every single thing you think before you say it.
Oh, you just need to hear one opinion.
There are so many people where I go, I know everything you think.
Yeah, just give
when
me
I go
one
on the
opinion.
street, that's why I'm able to like mess with people so much because I can hear them talk for like this guy. I could, if I met him on the street, I could have his brain wrapped up in a tizzy so quickly because I know everything you think. And the worst part is they think they know everything you think and they have no fucking clue.
sure.
I know what you think and why you
I mean,
think it.
they're NPCs essentially. would be
Well,
the-
okay,
the
so
term.
so if we agree there's NPCs, we can't also agree that you can learn something from everyone in the room, brother.
No, I mean,
I can't learn anything from.
I
these
mean,
people.
you can learn something about.
You
like,
could laugh at them. You could say that's funny. So many people have fear. You know, there's an old Peter Thiel thing, and he says failure is overrated because it helps. It makes you have too much fear. And I've always said he's right, but depending on what you want to do. Because in some things, I think, for example, comedy, I think in people being better at people like that. The quote from him is coming from guys that like, I bet you people don't like him that much. I bet, you know,
Yeah.
I think failure makes you more personable and it makes you understand people better. I think
Yeah, for sure.
So it depends on what you do. That quote is not objectively better, but if your goal is to like run a tech company, maybe.
Yeah.
Have code some things.
Yeah, to make some company into a $5 billion company.
So
Yeah,
it
maybe-
depends on
maybe you don't want to be just failing nonstop.
So exactly right. So it depends on what you want to do.
Yeah.
But when you see that guy and it's like that idea that you can learn something from everyone, I don't think it's true. I think there's a lot of interesting people. Like I think that you go talk to like odd bodega guy and you go, yeah, he has an interesting
Yeah.
perspective. You can talk. I think there's lots of interesting people, but it ain't everyone.
No, I mean, I feel like I could learn something if I went to a party in from something from everyone. If I went to a party in say, Alabama, where it's
Yeah,
like
you might-
outside of the
Same
bubble,
reason if
right?
you go to-
but if I just go to like some fucking like house party in Bushwick or something. And like, I'm not.
But then
learning
again,
a
though,
lot.
if you go to that party in Alabama, talk to one guy, talk to two
Yeah,
guys.
exactly. It'll
by
be
the
pretty
third guy, you'll be like,
homogenous.
I got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh yeah, I just learned that from fucking that guy over there.
Yeah.
And so many people have like fear baked into their experiences. So many people have indoctrination baked into their experiences.
I mean, so many people literally just get their opinions are like just, you know, they get them from fucking one side of the media or the other, and they're pretty like homogenous. They're not.
Yeah.
It's not because a lot of people, they're not like, oh, I watch everything and I kind of like pick and choose. Like they're just like, yeah, I watch CNN and those are my opinions.
That's my
Did you see that guy go on fucking Brian Stelter? Or whatever?
Fox News is bad.
Did you see that guy go on Brian Stelter or whatever?
Guys, no, wait, what was the
guy on CNN?
Yeah.
He
Who was
he's
that
like,
guy?
I forget what his name is, but he's
Fucking
not
roll.
going on again. He basically all live on air was just like, yeah, he's like, you're the fucking problem, dude. He's like, you say all this shit. He's like, you guys are so smug, and you think you like know basically like know everything. And Brian Stelter's like, I don't know what you mean.
They love.
He's like, you guys are the problem.
And then the
he's like,
funniest,
what? He's like, we're just finding the truth. He goes, yeah, no, you're not.
the funniest part was he goes, "Why'd you come on here?" He goes, "I don't know. I'm a book salesman."
Yeah.
He goes, "I'm trying to sell my fucking books."
Yeah.
I thought that part was really funny.
Yeah, that was good.
Brian Stelter's a
guy's a
fucking
fucking dweeb.
baloney factory, though. he's up there with
Baloney
Fauci.
factory.
He's up there in the baloney factory. I saw a pretty funny Washington Post thing. We'll wrap up and head over to the Patreon. But the Washington Post had this article, and it was like, what were the Capitol rioters thinking January 6th? I thought it was just so funny. It was like, this one's been like, it's been like 7 months, and they go, they literally was an article like Jerry Seinfeld, like, what were they thinking?
I mean, also, it's pretty well documented that there's such a thing called crowd behavior.
Yeah.
And that, like, when people get in crowds, they, like, do shit that
What
they
were they
probably
thinking?
wouldn't do by themselves.
Yeah, do you think they'd write what were the protesters who broke into like Target things?
Yeah, exactly. What were they thinking?
What were they thinking?
when they lit that fucking police station on fire in Minneapolis?
How do you get approved for what are they thinking? Like in fucking July, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you remember the cap? I got to the
July?
Capitol.
Oh, dude. Fucking, it's going to be July 2026. They're going to be like, whoa, remember the Capitol?
What were they
dude,
thinking?
you know, every year on January 6th for maybe the next 20 years, fucking left-wing press will be like, January,
I
the
remember.
insurrection 1 year later, the insurrection 2 years later, here's what we learned.
Yeah.
Insurrection 3 years later, what's still the same?
What were they
Like,
thinking?
dude, you know, it's just like a new tagline.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Thank you for listening to the BOYSCAST. As always, new episode every week. Patreon.com/theboyscast. Thanks to everyone who's followed the Clips channel as well. Some of those have actually been kind of going viral and popping off, which is very cool. And this weekend, it's already Friday, but it's this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're in Naples. So if anyone's around there,
Tonight.
come out.
If
Say
you're
hi.
listening
So
tonight.
it's tonight, tomorrow,
Oh,
and the next day. Yeah, because we had to film a little earlier this week because we're taking off tomorrow morning. So thank you very much for listening to the BOYSCAST. Check us out in Naples, and I got more dates at RyanLongComedy.com. Peace.
Boys!